Welcome to Omaranger004, and today we will talk about Zeltrax, but before we start, please join me on Patreon by Omaranger004. Your small donation helps run the channel. Subscribe. With that out of the way, let's begin. Zeltrax was a ruthless Ammonite-themed cyborg who served as the tertiary antagonist of Power Rangers Dino Thunder. He was the archenemy of Dr. Tommy Oliver. Zeltrax was once a regular human named Terrence Smith. Smitty was an orphan and a former partner of Tommy Oliver and Anton Mercer. The three once took a picture during their first dig. At some point, Tommy and Smitty were up for the same job at Anton Mercer Industries, but Mercer chose Tommy over Smitty. As a result, Smitty went to work on a more dangerous job for a different company, where, during an explosion at his lab, he was grievously injured. The actual mixture he was making which caused the explosion is unknown, but it is likely some kind of specialist explosive, given that dropping the vial caused the detonation. Mesogog found his ruined body and rebuilt him with cybernetic technology into a black armored cyborg that would be known as Zeltrax. To the outside world and Tommy, Terrence Smith died the day of the accident. Zeltrax encounters Tommy Oliver years later. A few years later, Zeltrax and Mesogog reemerges along with their new lackey Elsa after Connor McKnight, Ethan James and Kira Ford recover the Dino gems. When Mesogog captures Kira Ford, Zeltrax tries to keep her from escaping but fails and receives a severe torturing from Mesogog. Zeltrax later attacks the students and their teacher, who happen to be Tommy. With an army of Pteranodrones, Zeltrax fights Tommy before leaving to Mesogog that his old partner, now turned rival, is back. Zeltrax later uses his aerial assault craft to attack Reefside whilst the Biozards are let loose to level the city. When the three students and Tommy arrive, he teleports down in front of the four, but they morph for the first time into the Dino Rangers. Despite beating them at first, Zeltrax is unable to defeat their weapons and he is swiftly defeated by a blast from the Z-Rex blaster. However, he surveys and pilots his aerial assault craft in order to destroy the city, only for his ship to be destroyed by the Thundersaurus Megazord when the Rangers tame the Biozards and turn them into Dinozards. Although Zeltrax barely escapes before the ship explodes, he is then punished by Mesogog for his failure. Using the technique of divide and conquer, Zeltrax attacks the other Dino Rangers with an army of Pteranodrones, whilst Mesogog sends Demagnetron after Ethan James, who is trapped inside his game, although both Zeltrax and Demagnetron are defeated. Zeltrax and his son Goldenrod. Zeltrax eventually decides to give himself a power boost by using the Geno randomizer on himself. But instead of upgrading Zeltrax, the machine creates a super-powered clone named Goldenrod that calls Zeltrax his father. Zeltrax fabricates a lie about a family destiny in order to send his son to destroy Tommy Oliver. Goldenrod eventually goes after Tommy, but when the Dino Rangers arrive, Zeltrax appears to rescue Goldenrod as the odds were against them. After using the Geno randomizer to make his son stronger, Zeltrax and Goldenrod attack Tommy, Ethan and Trent the next day. When all four Dino Rangers morph, Goldenrod and some Pteranodrones commanded by Zeltrax attack them while he takes on Tommy Oliver himself. His son eventually grows giant and attacks the city as the Thundersaurus Megazord is formed to fight him. Zeltrax is then beaten by Tommy Oliver while his son beats the Megazord. Unfortunately, Tommy ends up destroying his son with the power of his Brachio staff whilst Zeltrax watches this, devastated by the loss of his only family, and vows vengeance on Tommy once again. While Elsa makes a Dimetrazord hatch out of a dino egg, Zeltrax has another confrontation with Dr. Oliver in the forest, but he's teleported back by Mesogog, who thinks he should leave his petty jealousness out the next time he fights. After a second near-fatal experience, because of his master's plans, Zeltrax mutinied against Mesogog and goes out on his own. Zeltrax later gains a super-powered form through the special underground spring that flow beneath the Tree of Life. Zeltrax meets Emperor Groom. Zeltrax and his army of Pteranodrones later encounter the Dino Rangers, but he is teleported by a beam to a ship called the Terror spacecraft and meets Emperor Groom, who comes from the year 2025 to ensure his conquer over planet Earth won't be interrupted. Claiming that he'll feel his wrath, Zeltrax attacks Groom, but his power is no match for the Emperor, who has a proposal for him. Groom says that Zeltrax and his troops could help him beat the Power Rangers, with Zeltrax responding that it would be his pleasure. Back on Earth, Zeltrax finds Tommy and they fight once again, and as he is about to beat him until the who have traveled from the future to stop Groom arrive and save him. With all 12 Rangers surrounded, Zeltrax and his allies attack them, with him taking on both Tommy Oliver and Commander Kruger, although he's easily beaten before fleeing. Zeltrax's demise. Zeltrax kidnaps Elsa, who has been reverted Bokal to a normal human being by Mesogog to power his transmutation cannon, and invades the Rangers' base. Then, with the aid of the Triptoids, Zeltrax builds his giant Zelzord where Elsa is held hostage in order to finally destroy Reefside. Zeltrax uses his Zelzord to demolish Reefside, but Tommy battles Zeltrax along with Kira, who rescues Elsa just in time before the Zelzord is finally obliterated by the self-destruction of the Rangers' Dinozords, just as Tommy and Kira escape with Elsa. Although Zeltrax also escapes, in his weakened state, he is easily killed for good by a dual attack from Tommy's Brachio staff and Kira's Terra grips. Zeltrax drops his weapons and falls over onto his back, where he explodes in a massive shockwave. At first, Terrence Smith was a kind, harmless and polite man, who was good friend of Tommy and Anton Mercer, but, after the accident, he became a brutal, cold and ruthless cyborg. He was obsessed with hatred toward Tommy and wanted to destroy the Dino Rangers at any cost. Zeltrax was an arrogant, stubborn and confident warrior with contempt to his enemies. However, despite his negative side, Zeltrax was a noble, honorable and honest soldier, not lacking honor and dignity, and could show pity to his opponents, as well as respect and fair play. He also felt romantic affections towards Elsa. Zeltrax was faithful to Mesogog and loved him as a father, but then he betrayed him and lost his loyalty to him following a near-fatal experience that almost killed him. When Tommy discovered that Zeltrax was Smitty, he felt pity for his old friend and thought he still could save him, but Zeltrax didn't believe in it. However, Zeltrax still possessed a soul. Also, Zeltrax genuinely loved his son Goldenrod and was extremely furious when he perished. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more videos about your favorite comics, movies are coming soon. Join me on Patreon by Omaranger004. Your small donation helps run the channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.